In Excel, there is no practical limit to the number of conditional formatting rules you can apply to a cell. It's also possible for more than one conditional formatting rule to be applied to the same cell. In this movie, I'll show you how to manage multiple rules as applied to pivot tables. My sample file is multiple 0507, and you can find it in the Chapter 5 folder of the Exercise Files collection. In this pivot table, I have two rules applied to the values area. To see them in detail, I will click any cell in the pivot table, and then on the Home tab of the ribbon, I'll click the Conditional Formatting button, and at the bottom of the button list, click Manage Rules. And here, in the Conditional Formatting Rules Manager, you'll see the details of the two rules. The first changes the formatting of the top four values so that they have a green background and white text. So if you look at the values within the body of the pivot table and drag the dialog box to the right if you need to, you'll see that the top four values are 101,640, 45,139, 43,392, and 47,476. So those values are formatted properly. The second rule looks for values that are above average, and it formats them with text that is bold and italicized but makes no other changes. So as you see, the values 101,640, 45,139, and 47,476 are all above average, but 43,392 is not. So that means that both rules that I have were applied to the three cells I just mentioned, but only the first rule, the top four value, was applied to 43,392. But let's say that I only want to apply the bold italic formatting for the second rule to values that are above average, and if they are above average, I don't want to apply the top four format. There are a couple of things I need to do to make that happen. The first is I need to change the order of the rules within the dialog box. So I will click above average, and I will click the Move Up button. And you can see that the rules are now in opposite order. Above average comes before top four. However, there won't be any change. So if I click Apply, both rules are still applied, and the pivot table format doesn't change. However, if I select the Stop If True checkbox and then click Apply, we'll see that the rules are in fact now different. I have the above average values, 101,640, 45,139, and 47,476, all displayed in bold and italic. And only a top four value that is not above average, 43,392, is displayed in green with white text. So as you can see, the order of rules matters, but only if you use Stop If True. When you're editing rules in a pivot table, you need to make sure that you see all the rules that are applied. To do that, you can click the Show Formatting Rules For controls down arrow, and you can select which rules you want to work with. It can be the current selection, which might be a single cell within a pivot table, this worksheet, this pivot table, the sheet, or a particular table, which is, in this case, on another worksheet. Let's say you want to work with a pivot table, but you don't currently have a cell selected. So I'll click OK to close. Click a cell outside of the pivot table, then go to Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules, and rather than Current Selection, I will click the Show Formatting Rules For list boxes down arrow and click Pivot Table. In this case, my pivot table is named Pivot Table 1, and I will see my rules. If you don't want to make any changes, you can just click Close. If you take the time to work with your rules by changing their order and stopping if true when necessary, you'll discover many benefits and additional visualizations in Excel.